VFX, mission standby. VFX, mission standby. Good luck to you. Alright, so we have finally arrived at the release of Yamato's 1/68 scale perfect transformation VF-4G Lightning 3. This Valkyrie was first seen in the 30-minute OVA Macross Flashback 2012, the year this thing has been released. And for a while it only had a fighter mode. It was always meant to transform, but they didn't get a chance to finish it until this game came out, because Kawamori said he was done with Macross back in '87, but for this 1997 video game, he was like, yeah, let's finish this thing off. And there, you can kind of see it, it's right there. It does get top billing in the poster, though. Alright, so before I get into the toy itself, I'm just going to show you that for those who are a little irate that this is not actually the flashback version, you can kind of fudge it. They give you the black tail fins, they give you plenty of markings to be like, hey, you're on the... Where is that? Yeah, VFX Ravens, Mega Road 1, Valhalla 3, the ship from VFX, a bunch of skulls, so you can put it on there, so you can do it upright. Anyway, but again, this is the one from the video game, which means that it's in a nice, pleasing, very light gray color with blue highlights on the canards and the tail fins. Everything all the way around. I'm going to do a quick size comparison here. We are going to bring out a Yamato VF1. You can see, it's definitely bigger than the VF1. Although not a whole lot longer. And I'll also put in a VF11. So we've got not only the predecessor, but also the successor. So, see they're nice right there. This guy is definitely heavier than either of these two. Kind of heavier in the back here. He actually kind of tends to tip back like that if you just kind of pick it up. So just to let you know, that's how it works when you're handling it. Alright, we'll take these out of the picture. And let's talk about the VF4. So this thing is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It looks really nice. Everything is nice and sharply molded. A couple of parts here, some of these tips you might want to just be careful you don't accidentally blunt them. I kind of might have blunted this little tip right there, but it's kind of hard to notice anyway. All the way around, this thing is sleek, and sleeker. Looks really, really cool. A couple of features of fighter mode while I got it here. It does come with snip stand adapters, very basic thing. You just kind of clip it in there. This is for your Yamato Macross stand or your Mighty Block stands. Either one will work. You can just kind of pop it into the front part there. Kind of clips in there nice and tight. And you can just take it back out. Okay, do that. Yeah, come out there. Wow, I didn't actually try popping this in there, and now it's stuck. There it goes. Anyway, let's talk about landing gear. So landing gear is pretty simple to pop in and out on this guy. You just kind of pop these back down like that. Each of these doors is on a little sliding joint, so it actually is up a little bit. You can just push it back in to get it nice and flush. And that works like that. Okay, so with this, with the little missiles on this guy and their little semi-conformal wells, they all just sort of slot in. Although for each location, the missile has a different tab. Let me just show you. The missiles that go on the legs here, they've got a medium-sized tab. And going over to the missiles that are right next to the landing gear, these are actually also on this sliding joint. This kind of pops in and out. Although when you take them out, you're probably just going to take them off anyway as you do it. They have the smallest tab. It's this little tiny tab. Like that. And you just do this, it's both for the transformation and for putting the landing gear in and out. Actually, I found the nose wheel, it doesn't really lock in place forward, but it's not really a huge problem. So you just stick that thing back in there, push this down, and push it back in. Make sure you line it up right. and will be nice and flush. You get this beautiful profile. This thing looks great. It is gorgeous. And the only problem is that kind of have to mess with the fins a little bit to make sure they're all nice and lined up. For the most part, these are all, the only thing that really moves as far as these canards and all that stuff is these fins on the legs move. You kind of put them up as you saw for landing, putting it down the landing gear. The wings are always at this angle. They are locked at this place. You cannot move them up or down. So people really care about these all lining up parallel. You are shit out of luck. Anyway, but still looks really nice. I'm just going to pop these back in real quick because I don't need to have them out for gear walk mode. But alright, a couple other things. The thruster bells in the back, they actually move. They're on little ball joints. These thruster vanes on the back also kind of move a little bit. They move more in battery mode, but you can actually move this panel to open and close the thruster vanes on the back here. Nice little clear parts here for this rear light. And what I think is the most important part is that they give you an accurate Digital Mission VFX pilot figure of the most important character in Macross. Because this is you! Yes, you! Yeah, they actually went ahead and they molded a whole new pilot figure for this. This is totally the Digital Mission VFX pilot suit. So, looks pretty cool. Nice and proper. Doesn't really fit in too tightly in here, so he kind of moves around a bit, but yeah. Again, similar setup with landing gear. There's a little sliding hinge that you just pull up and pull out. Alright. Anyway, so we're going to go into the gear walk mode. This is actually a fairly easy toy to transform. It's pretty straightforward and intuitive. One of the things you're going to start off with is these panels here underneath. Oh, and actually, you're going to notice there's this slot here, and there's also a little tab here, or this little tab that folds up. People have been trying to like force this gun pod into either here or in here, and don't do that. Stop trying to put things where they don't belong. Anyway, so bring up these panels. These actually come out too. That's just for aesthetics in gear walk mode. You can actually just pop them up. They come out in a little tab in there. Alright, so you can get those out and get those out of the way. You're going to notice also that the intake covers are in there. You can't take them out without transforming it. That's minor annoyance. Okay, so when you bring these legs out, what you're going to do is a tab right in here that goes into a slot in the leg. Just kind of pull it, and the whole thing pops out. Pretty nice. Start to raise it up. And the whole leg here is basically on a double hinge. Okay, so you can see there's the double hinge right there. I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to pull this. There, just pull that thing out. The intake covers, they just slide in past this little divot. It's kind of a little rail or something, a little bump in there. So again, just kind of goes in there. They're not marked. They can go in either the left or the right side. So you see you have a little turbine for the intake right there. Just kind of want to flip that down. And you can just bring this part of the leg up. And there you go. So for gear walk mode though, you're actually going to bring the whole leg out. It's on a sliding joint. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to pop this, bring it, and I'm just going to start working this deal out. Okay, so you can kind of see how that joint works right there. A lot of die cast in this thing. Is this part here, this little universal joint is a die cast. Alright, I'm going to show you a little more die cast in the back. Again, I'm just going to reach in my finger and pop this thing out. Honestly, you're probably just going to leave these off anyway because it's a little annoying to have to take them off for the transformation, but it's just a little nice detail that they remembered to include, the intake covers. Okay, so you're going to work that into position, and you can just bring the thighs out. Again, you got little die cast. nice die cast hinges in here that the hips move on. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to move this around. You can see, oh boy, look at that. Nice die cast right in there. Yeah, big part of this whole assembly right here is die cast. You're going to want to cover it up though, so you just pull this little tab, get your fingernail in there, pull it up, and it's going to lock in place. There you go. So this whole area is now covered, just like in the artwork. This is how it works. Pull it up, and it's covered. So now we got ourselves a pair of legs. We need some feet though. Pretty simple. You just flip these out as you also pull down the whole ankle assembly. It makes some very, very nice clicks when you pull out the ankle assembly. Okay. There we go. This whole area is different than on the say the VF-17 or the VF-19. They've gone back to a more traditional, just a pair of swivels instead of the cool but kind of problematic ball joints they've been using. So anyway, get yourself a gear walk. Stands up pretty good. Alright, so just to give myself a little more viewing area, I'm gonna pop the tripod up as well. This is always the best part of any review that I do. Okay, so we're just gonna finish off gearwalk mode with the arms. The arms are pretty basic. All you do, oh, and you watch as that panel falls off. Anyway, so the arms are pretty basic. You can just pull this whole thing forward. It's going to click. And you're probably going to pop off a missile as well. It's like, you know, I appreciate the missiles being detachable, but I don't know. I can't imagine the people out there who want to actually paint in the conformal wells for the missiles so they look proper, kind of like on an F-14. Yeah. Yeah, you might just want to thicken a bunch of these tabs, but that's just a minor annoyance. Okay, so with the hands, what you do is you just pop that thing down. It's going to click, and you just pull up this panel, and you flip out the hand. Non-articulated fists. Pretty basic fists. It does come with a pair of articulated hands, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Okay. All right, next, I'm going to pop this forward, and you just kind of rotate it down, kind of bend it at the elbow, get it out of the way, and rotate it. Some of these joints are a little tighter than others. Flip that down and do this. Watch as more missiles just kind of fall off the arms. Yeah, because the missiles, you can see the tips of the missiles kind of poke out of the gauntlets, so alright, there it goes. Awesome. Okay, so we're pretty almost done with gearwalk mode. You're just gonna flip down these things here on the shoulder pauldrons. Yeah, for fighter mode, when you put the arm back in place, you just want these like parallel like that, because they go into a slot on the back of the gauntlet here. And you just flip that down. And you can go around to the back. And there's a pair of flaps on the back there. Alright, so pretty good. Not going to mess around too much with all these missiles that keep falling off. It's the only minor annoyance with the transformation. Everything else is pretty smooth. Alright, so here we go. VF-4. Nice right there. And gearwalk mode. Pretty cool. Joints feel pretty tight. Most of them seem to be accessible with a screwdriver, so if you need to tighten them up, you can. Not a whole lot going on as far as joints go. You have the ball jointed hips. You have a tilt right in here. You can pretty much get that classic A stance if you want. Pretty basic. Just kind of push these. I'm going to push these back down. There we go. Now it's not going to go anywhere. Maybe, well. Anyway. To complete the look of the gearwalk mode, or at least to make it look like the poster for VFX, they were nice enough to include a pair of articulated fingers. And these are more or less the same as they come with the VF1. And they even have a little rectangular detail in there, just molded right in there. And if you have a VF1 gun pod, doesn't come with one of these though, you can just kind of stick it right there. Same deal. Actually, we want them to be right-handed. So anyway, same kind of deal. It's got a little tab. Stick the gun in there. The only difference with this is that it actually has a ball joint in the wrist. So that's the only difference between the other, like the old VF1 hand. Just stick it in there, and there we go. Just like the VFX poster. Except the nose cone was white in the VFX poster. But anyway, okay, this guy looks cool. It's neat. This is amazing. And once again, you can actually take these flaps off here, like I showed you, if you don't want them to be hanging off the end here. Anyway, all right. So I'm going to go into Bataroid mode, and it's actually pretty easy to do, all things considered. Considering the fact this thing wasn't really finished until about almost like 10 years after it was first designed. Anyway, so what you're going to do is you're going to pull up this panel here that has this little fin in front here. You're going to pull up this part of the nose, just like that. You are going to push down the canopy. The whole cockpit area is going to sink down into the front. So you kind of push that down there. Put these down. They do kind of come out a little bit on their joint right there. And the way this is going to come together is you basically take this whole back section, you're going to lift it up. And there's this little slot in here. That's what partially locks it in place. So you can see this part is up and ready. So see this little slot in there, and it just kind of tabs into this collar area inside. So with this transformation, you're probably going to pop off those, here it goes. I'll take off those missiles. Again, you saw what I did before. You can just try to pull out those little slots there, and you can give yourself enough room for them not to pop off. But just for the sake of this, we're going to go ahead and let them fall off. So you're going to disengage this whole area, more or less, is going to be disengaged. There's a couple of tabs here. Where you can get to them is just kind of get your fingers, another missile, you can just get your fingers in there and this whole thing, and that'll come off. Let's just take that off too. Anyway, this is a lot easier when you're not in front of the camera. I always say that. Okay, so again, this whole thing's going to come up. You can see this whole area is coming up. And there's a die-cast tab here. It goes between this part and this part. It's on this part. And this is just going to come out. Okay. Comes out, as you can see, a little die-cast part there. And here's probably one of the biggest parts of die-cast in this entire toy. Oh, is this huge hinge here. So this whole dealie here is die-cast. Die-cast here, this whole like T-bar right in here that holds the engine nacelles on that the arms are attached to. This little collar part here, you're going to see that when I transform it into fully into Bataroid mode. That's going to move. And while I got it here, let's see if I can't stop blocking my own light. All right. So this part, this white part here is also die-cast. This part of the arm here, this whole shoulder area is die-cast. The elbow joint is die-cast. This little moving hinge joint here that has a ball on the end of it for the shoulder, it's die-cast. You can see it actually moves too. A little stiffer on this arm, but that'll start moving with time. Anyway, stop talking about all the die-cast and get on to transforming it. So we're going to work on the head while we're here. What you do is this panel right here is going to come up. And this panel. Just kind of get your finger in there. Alright, so you got this panel up. And from the bottom, you're just going to push the head. So this collar area here is going to come up. It's going to come up and it's going to go basically perpendicular to the ground. And you can see it actually has the same shape as the canopy. So it's going to cup the canopy just like that. Alright, I'm going to bring up the head. Flip up this front part of the collar area. And this whole thing is just going to come back like that. You can just bring that back down. Okay, so when it comes down to bringing this all together into a torso, the way it works is you basically have these three sections that are going to fold in on themselves. This whole section here is just going to fold flat against this, and this part will be perpendicular to the ground. One thing you want to do here is flip down, just flip these over. These are just little parts on the end of the codpiece area. Trying to get the legs out of the way. And then you can struggle for like 20 minutes trying to get this little tab up. Just get his dongle up. There we go. It actually came up pretty fast this time. Okay, so we're almost at the end, transforming it. You're going to want to bring the nose cone in like that. And actually, you want to just leave it out like that for a little bit. And you're going to put this fin right here. It actually goes into a slot inside the nose cone here. And the slot in here does have a couple of clips that hold this tail fin in place. Actually, you can see there's a tiny little... yeah, it's supposed to be there. Yeah, there's a tiny little slot in there that helps it lock in place. So it's a little tight the first time you do it. But you're just going to push this in. Let's see. Sorry, that wasn't on camera. Okay, you're just going to push this in there and it locks in place. Okay, so you're going to bring this whole dealie up, start getting this into place. The exposed end of this tail fin is going to go into this slot right under here. And as you bring all this back up, you can just kind of pancake it all back together. And also this part is a little annoying, just getting the tab into the hole on the nose right there. Right on the... And get yourself back in there. Okay. Anyways. Yeah. So that's all tabbed in place right now. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring the die cast bar up in the back here. And there's a tab here that goes into the slot back, or on the back here. And you're going to notice that there are also a bunch of holes here. And these are where parts of the upper body lock in place. The whole thing's going to lock in place. You're going to hear it. Okay, so that is all locked in place, and we are basically almost done. Just gonna stand him up right, put his feet right, and then retract the gear walk joint. Okay, I would just kind of watch out for these. They're not like fragile, but they might get blunted if you hurl this thing against a wall. Anyway, okay, so here we go. All right, mostly in Bataroid mode. All right, there we go. Not standing up too well on this goofy ass bed sheet. Okay, to finish off the back, you pull out this and you just bring it down. Same over here, pull it off and just bring it down. Yeah, it's basically a multi-part extension in the back there. So that's kind of cool. Move the light right there. That's better. Now it's right next to my face. Alright. Anyways. Oh, this came undone. There it goes. There, just nicely locked in place. Okay, so you're going to bring the wings down and just move the tail fins in. They actually will go all the way, like down like that, but it's supposed to be up like that so you can move the head without them hitting anything. So, alright, one last thing. This front part, it's like front intakes, they actually pull out, similar to the things on the back, and you just put them down. Alright, there you go. Oh, and again, one last thing, I forgot about these, so you can pop these back into the underside here. They will actually just lock back in place like they do in the fighter mode. Anyways, yeah, again, this is trying to do this holding it in front of a camera. It's pretty easy to do it. It's kind of, I'm going to rest this guy on the ground. Anyway, let's look at that. Look at that delicious underside. So, fun trivia, there was no Battleroid mode designed for the VF-4 back when this thing was originally conceived, though its prototype, the VF-X4, that Hikaru was playing around in the last episode of the TV show, did have a Garwalk mode. There were some very basic sketches of it, and it even had a pop-up double turret, kind of like the YF-29, because Shoji Kawamori's big secret is that he's basically been reusing ideas that he's come up with for like the past 30 years or so that he's been doing mechanical designs. So there was kind of an idea what this was going to look like in Garwalk mode at least, but not so much in Battleroid mode. Okay. Anyway, so we got ourselves a robot. Robot wants to keep falling forward. There he goes. Alright, so here we go. VF-4 in Battleroid mode. Pretty cool, pretty awesome. It's got that look. One of the unfortunate problems of the design is he really cannot raise his arms like above these big pauldrons. I mean, you can get them pretty far up. I mean, they'll go like right here, and they do have multiple joints. Like the joint goes like this, and the arm swivels, and there's an elbow joint in there. So, yeah. Have you ever seen this guy in one of the video games? He basically always has his arms like right here. But that doesn't matter because he's got beam cannons in his arms, so he can just shoot people. He doesn't really need to move his arms around that much. But still, pretty cool. Very free hip joint in here. And you can basically get this thing like all the way. All the way. And if you need more articulation, again, it's on a hinge, so we'll go back a little bit as well. Yeah, and if you fiddle around with him, you can actually get him into a fairly decent kneeling pose. You just kind of can use this joint too. Here you go. It's an okay kneeling pose. Not really. But yeah, he's got a lot of joints. Most of them are used for the transformation, but everything seems to kind of work out pretty well. Yeah, this is really the end, or just a dream for Macross fans to finally get a proper VF-4 toy, because this is the first one, not counting like little trading kits or whatever. First transforming VF-4 toy. There were garage kits of it that could transform. There's at least 2 that can transform. There's been tons of fighter mode kit, or fighter mode only garage kits of it. No plastic kits of it yet, but hopefully that'll change in the near future. So yeah, this is kind of the dream toy. It was expensive. The exchange rate didn't really help. Added about $50 to the retail price. I'm still kind of thinking it's like, 100 yen is $1. It's like, no, it's not. It's like 84 yen to the dollar. But anyway, these guys were web exclusives, but they were at a lot of online retailers. Hyperlink Japan had them. Nippon Yasan. I think Amiyami might have had some. So you could definitely get this guy even though he was a web shop exclusive. So it's interesting that he was really available a lot more than most Bandai toys are these days. Bandai Macross toys. Pretty cool. Oh, this is really the expression of a toy that is by fans for fans. Looks great. The visor is really cool. Very sleek design, just oozes coolness. The whole thing feels very solid. A good amount of die cast, like I was showing you guys. Feels fairly balanced, even though it again has a fairly large upper body. Like most of the airplane is actually up here. Anyway, still super cool. I'm loving this thing. Absolutely loving it. Yeah. Who knows if they're going to do more variants of the VF4? I think that this whole experiment of making a made-to-order toy worked out for them pretty well, so I hope they try to do some more obscure Valkyries with it. A little VF-14, you know, a little VF-9, VF-5000, 3000, VF-2SS, no way. Anyway, so this has been my overly long review of the VF4. Pretty cool. Makes me a little nostalgic for Digital Mission VFX. Just a little bit, though.